What's up guys, it's Will. As you can see behind me, the truck looks a little bit different. So today we're going to be going into the camper build. It was a DIY camper build. We're going to split this video into two parts. The first is going to be the camper build itself, and the second part is going to be the Sterling Adventure Co. rooftop tent that's on top. We'll do a review over that, and we'll do a review over the camper itself, and I'll break down kind of how the process is when you're building it, some of the materials and things like that, and what I think about it so far. So with that, let's jump right into the video. Alright guys, so as you can see, I built a GFC-esque style camper. Built it all out of square steel, the frame, and then I used some aluminum panel for the side panels and struts, of course, and everything like that. As we get deeper into the video, I'll go into more of the details, but for now, you can see it's kind of a GFC style camper, and then I got a Sterling Adventure Co. tent on top. It's not a pass-through camper. I still have to use a ladder to get in there, or the tailgate, but it's really not that big of a deal. Maybe in the future I might cut a hole in the bottom, but I think for now I'm kind of digging this right now. Alright guys, so starting out with the frame, we built this out of 16 gauge square tubing, and had a buddy help me weld it. It was, not very good at welding, so he helped me out with the process. Got everything measured out. I followed Ripcord's design for about 90% of this build. As far as the space frame goes, so just followed his blueprints that he's got on his website, and we got it done. The hardest part of the frame is definitely getting these angles here in the corners, because they go in a couple degrees and then they go forward a couple degrees as well. So measuring those out and cutting those to spec is a little bit difficult if it's something that you've never done before or you don't have the right tools. But we figured it out after a couple tries. Definitely make sure to get some extra steel if you're gonna be doing a project like this and it's your first time doing it. So we were able to make some practice cuts and get that done. After we had this frame built, we just painted it, and I didn't do a great job painting it because it was cold and I was ready to get it on the truck. So it's probably got like 2 or 3 layers of paint on here, but it definitely needs a touch up already, just because I didn't paint everything correctly. But I'll do that one day when I decide to take it off. I'm not too worried about it right now. After the frame was built, we went ahead and test fit it on the truck. At first, I got some regular camper clamps that were going to clamp the frame down for like leaders and everything like that. But once I had those, I realized that they were not going to work because they kept sliding off the steel, and they just weren't tall enough to accommodate for the 1.5 inch by 1.5 inch square tubing. So I scrapped that idea and then went back to my friend, and we just welded some custom angle brackets that went right into the bed rails. It's really not that hard. We just took a piece of square tubing and then a flat plate of steel and put a hole in it, and then found some bed rail mounts and put them on the bed rails. So that wasn't that difficult. After we had the frame mounted up, I took it home and started figuring out what I was going to do about the panels and the struts and all the hardware. So the good thing about Ripcord's design is he has the blueprints for the panels, the CAD design, on his website that you can download. And basically I just kind of looked around my area for a good place to get these panels. It's not easy to find a place to get these panels for a relatively good price. I had a couple quotes and they were all pretty high for these panels. A lot of sign shops don't want to just sell the panels to somebody like me. So I ended up going on Facebook Marketplace, which is honestly, before you even start this project, I would go on Facebook Marketplace to look for all the materials, which saved me a lot of money on this whole project. But I went on Facebook Marketplace and found somebody selling the exact size panels that I needed, and they even got them cut on a CNC cutter for me for a relatively cheap price. So that helped out a lot with the build. After I had the panels cut, I went ahead and test fit them on the sides just to make sure that they fit correctly. And after we did that, started kind of brainstorming how I was going to get these to be sturdy, because as you can even see now, they're a little bit flimsy, but they're not too bad. But if you had no support, then they wouldn't stay up with these struts, because these struts are super strong. So in order to get these panels to be rigid, I had to take some angled aluminum. You can get it at Home Depot or Lowe's or anything like that. But I got some angled aluminum and I put it around the entire edge of all of these panels. It's important actually to make sure that you curve the angled aluminum around each edge and not cut it at the edges, because you're going to be sacrificing a lot of rigidity if you cut those instead of curving them around the corners. Trust me, I learned that the hard way. It was a pain in the butt to get rid of all the rivets in one panel. So yeah, make sure to curve it around the edges and it'll be pretty rigid for you. After I had all the braces for the insides, on the insides of the panel, I went ahead and riveted them down. I just used some black rivets for that to make it look good. And after that, we went ahead and installed these struts. In the design, there's some weld nuts on the frame. So basically all I had to do was screw these struts into the frame, and then I had to measure out and drill into these angled aluminum braces and mount the strut up to there. Definitely make sure that you measure a couple times, because on some of the panels I had to drill a couple holes, because it's a fine line between where the struts will close and where you get the panel to open at a decent amount. Next, I had to figure out a way to get the panels to stay on the space frame, so I had to get some. Next, I had to make sure that I got the panels on the space frame. So I had some hinges that I got from Home Depot. You can get them from Home Depot or Lowe's. They're pretty cheap. So I got about 9 hinges, 3 for each door. I ended up only doing 2 on the back because it's pretty rigid, because it's a shorter panel. So 2 on the back is perfectly fine, but you could go with 3 if you wanted to. I went with just some regular hinges, and I riveted those into the frame, and then I screwed them into the panels just in case I need to take the panels off at one point, whether if I need to repaint the frame or if one of the panels gets bent, because these panels will bend pretty easy. If something happens and it gets hit, it will bend pretty easy and it'll crack. I've also heard, talking to people, that these will crack after a while. So they'll probably have to be replaced, in a couple years. If I were to do this project again, I probably would look for a different solution. Instead of these aluminum composite panels, I'd probably look for something either thicker aluminum or sheet aluminum or something like that, that is a little bit stronger and not as bendy and a little bit more rigid. But after we got these panels mounted up, we had the struts put on. That was pretty much it, almost. The only things that were left were the actual latches. In Ripcord's design, he calls for Southco latches, and that's pretty much what I got, except for I got them off Amazon for like 50% cheaper. So these Amazon latches have held up pretty good so far. The only problem that I've had is that they make contact with the space frame on the inside of these latches a little bit. So I had to Dremel out a little bit of the latch on that side so it's able to close. But other than that, it was a pretty easy install. So finally I could work on one of the last things, which is sealing the entire camper up. So to seal it up, I used 2 different things. Well, actually, I guess 3 different things. I used these bulb seals. I got these off Amazon they weren't too expensive, but they get pretty expensive. And then I'll get a close-up shot for you, but I used this foam seal for the side panels because there was a little bit of a gap. It was either a measuring error or just the panels didn't fit up super right. But I used this foam seal on the sides of the panel in order to get a good seal on the side of the space frame, because even with the bulb seal, there was still a little bit of a gap. So I used this foam seal to really get a good tight fit into there. Now when it rains, it's going to come down and it's going to go through the space frame and into the cracks in between the space frame and the panel, which is all right with me. I mean, I'm not really going out in the rain that much, and I don't really have anything in the bed right now that can't get wet, so I'm not too worried about it right now. But in the future, I'm probably going to try to figure out how to make it completely waterproof even when the panels are open. And then the last thing is how the tent joins up with the space frame. Right now I have it mounted on its regular tracks onto the crossbars that we made for the panel, but that leaves about 1.5 inch gap between the space frame and the tent. So I'm trying to figure out right now if I want to take those brackets completely off and then mount the tent directly to the frame, but I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to do that and how the best way to do that is. All in all, the camper build was a little bit easier. All in all, the camper... I'm sorry about the dogs. I'm sorry. All in all, the camper build was a little bit easier than I expected, honestly, but it was still pretty difficult. At first, I wasn't even going to try to attempt it, but I went ahead and just pulled the trigger because I sold my bed rack in my other tent. So I attempted it and it worked out. There's still definitely things that I need to improve on. I got to figure out how to seal the between the tent and the space frame. That's the biggest thing right now. But I'm working on that and I'll get it done here soon. Once that's done, then it'll be pretty much complete. And then I guess for the next part, we'll move on to the Sterling Adventure Co tent. We'll pop it up and I'll give a good review over it and kind of show you what some features are on it, why I like it so much, and why I'm excited to take it out camping. All right, guys, so with that kind of concludes the video for today. Be looking out for part 2 where we go over the Sterling Adventure Co rooftop tent. Why am I in my car right now? It's freezing outside. It's about to snow, so I'm hiding in my car. But yeah, be looking out for part 2. If you like this video, be sure to leave a like and feel free to subscribe if you want some more content like this. In the future, I'm definitely going to be making some maybe silent or kind of less talking videos about camping. I really want to get out soon and try to make one of these videos. I've seen a lot of videos that have kind of inspired me, so I really want to try to get out and get some more content like that, and hopefully you guys like that. So be looking out for that part 2 video coming out very soon, and we'll go over that entire tent. So thank you guys. See ya.